Where should we start? What's the first thing?
Okay, I think one good thing to start with would be to like think about what most people think women find attractive. Like, I remember when I was young, I was trying to figure this stuff out. I would ask women, and they would tell me things, but the stuff that they told me wasn't very useful to me. So they'd say things like, "Oh, you should dress nice." You know, "Oh, you should take her out for dinner, like do something romantic." There was all this stuff, and I like did it, but it totally didn't work. And then it was only when I started getting advice from other guys who actually knew what they were talking about that all of it sort of started to make sense. Because, you know, when you ask women for this advice, they're telling you stuff that's like, it's true, but it's not useful because they don't really see what's going on behind the scenes.
You have the best analogy for this.
I do have the best
Can
analogy.
you share that? Because I think that's something that needs to be shared.
I tell guys, getting dating advice from women is like asking a restaurant critic for cooking advice.
Yes.
So a restaurant critic might know a ton about steaks. They might have eaten at every steak restaurant in town, and they can tell you exactly how well you've done. But what a restaurant critic will never learn, no matter how many restaurants he eats at, is how you actually cook a steak. He's never going to know what temperature you put it on the grill for, or how long you put it on the grill. And that's exactly the stuff that a guy needs to know. So women do the same thing. They'll say things like, "Oh, you know, you should be romantic, you should be confident but not too confident, don't be arrogant." And that's all saying stuff like, "Oh, don't overcook the steak. Don't undercook the steak.
Not too salty.
No, don't make it too salty, not too fatty." But what you never learn is like what temperature for how long. And only the guys in the kitchen can tell you that. It's only the guys who can make the good steak that can give you those kinds of answers. So that's what this class is going to be about. Is going to be about the answer, how to make the steak.
There's few perfect analogies in this world, but I think that's actually one of them because it's it's exactly.
And a lot of guys think like women are misleading them, or they get kind of a bad attitude about it. That's usually not the case. It's just they don't have the right perspective. So then you ask guys like, what do women find attractive? And the guys will be like, "Oh, money. You gotta have nice, fancy clothes. You gotta be confident or funny or intelligent." What are some other stuff that if you ask your average guy, they would say this is what women find attractive?
Yeah. So a lot of time I get the feedback coming. Guys think it is about money, cars, looks. Their status or a class system in society. But that's usually the feedback I get from most
money, looks, and status.
When I talk to them about attraction.
Yeah, and women will say, "Oh, you got to do romantic things. I like a guy with a good heart. Sure, you know, these things are a little bit important, but how in shape you are doesn't matter that much." They'll often say stuff like that. And here's the thing: they're all kind of true, right? They're all kind of true. Like, I'll tell you what, having a lot of looks and status and money does not hurt you, except if you're a guy. Except I get guys sometimes who have huge status, but they over rely on it. They act like, "Hey, check out my fancy new car," and they try too hard showing this stuff off. And
it becomes a weakness.
And it becomes a weakness, and women despise that. Or they can only get gold diggers or something like that. And so I realized after a while that all the things that women found attractive in men kind of broke down to three different things. And I realized that for women, basically I came up with this theory of attraction that is one of the things that I teach in all my classes, and going to share it right now. And it sounds really simple, but when you think about it, it changes everything. It's just one sentence long, but it's a really complex statement that a lot of guys spend a long time figuring out. But this is what attraction is in women, okay? It is the feeling of being desired by a powerful man that she can trust. And if you give her that feeling, she will feel attraction. So the feeling of being desired by a powerful man that she can trust. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's
totally.
That's like the plot of Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
they're all based around.
Yeah, like if you go back and you watch every romance, every successful romance novel, you'll see that. You'll see the writers creating that, and whether they're doing it consciously or unconsciously. And yeah, like Twilight,
it's literal.
Or 50 Shades of Grey is like is like, it's super obvious in those dramas, but you can see it even in like, you got Emily Bronte or like,
Wuthering Heights and stuff.
Wuthering Heights and like classic literature, still exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So if attraction is the feeling of being desired by a powerful man that she can trust, what are the 3 things you got to work on? 1, you got to be a powerful man first. You got to communicate a little bit of that inner power. And mostly that's confidence. I mean, status and money has a lot to do with it. But if you don't have the confidence, all the status and the money in the world isn't going to do anything for you. And it's that inner power, mostly, that women find attractive. But then once you have that, then you have to build trust, because women don't, if you ruin trust, if you mess it up or you creep a woman out, let's say early on in your interaction with her, that's going to kill things. That's going to really, really destroy attraction. And then you have, to communicate desire, which is the last thing, which most guys, especially when they kind of get into game or studying dating, that's the last thing that most guys get, is how to communicate that desire without looking weak or without being weird or needy or something like that. And if you can do all 3 of those things, you're going to be able to get attraction. That's the essence of it.
Yeah, I like that.